Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome back, and we're now on episode 3 of making this demo RPG with C++, just going from the ground up. So if you haven't seen the previous episode, you might want to check those out. Otherwise, you might be a little lost. But last time, we basically finished making the basic structure of our classes, but now we want to expand them a little bit and make them so that they can level up. So let's go ahead and add in a level up system, and we're just going to hypothesize a few things. Now, what I was originally thinking here is basically anytime you level up, the next level takes twice as long to get to. That'll keep it simple, and we should be able to just make a formula for leveling up. So in order to do this, we're going to need to have like a level in XP in each of these classes. Now, we don't want to put it in every single class necessarily, so we're probably once again going to just extend another class. We're doing a whole lot of this making little subclasses. That way we could just reuse. So let's go ahead and make a new item, make another header file, and we'll just call this like levels. Or, well, levels kind of sounds like world level or something. We don't want to make it confusing. So let's just go with level up. Or we could call it level progression. No, that kind of still sounds like a different worlds and like game levels. We don't want that. So we'll stick with level up. And that's going to go ahead and make us a header file. And we're just going to make a class called level up. And this is going to be a little bit tricky because we got to think about some things. So when we level up, like let's say we level up a cleric, we want to go off of these here, the HP growth, the base strength, and that sort of thing. So we're going to have to come up with a system where it levels these properly. Okay, very good. And so we're just going to go ahead and let's put some basics in here. So publicly and privately. So I think private, we're going to go ahead and just have a unsigned int of level, and it's going to start out as 1. So yeah. Well, let's use one of our types that we're using before. I mean, we have our hit point types, we have our stat types, and we could put these all in one file. I kind of like having them separate, but that's not entirely necessary. Okay, I gave it a little thought here, and I've decided how we're going to do this level up system for now. So instead of private, we are going to go protected, and we are going to use some virtual functions here. So we're going to introduce some of that, and that way we can modify these level up functions per class as needed, and these functions will be able to access this protected stuff and mess with it. So we do want a I guess, we'll probably have a type here, but for now we'll just do a uint 16t called level, or let's say current level. That makes it clear. And I should also mention, I haven't really been doing this, but a lot of times people, it just as kind of a standard, they'll, for member variables, they'll put like an M here, or M underscore, or P. You'll see a lot of that. I'm not really doing that here, but just so you're aware, you see that, that's kind of what it means. It's a way to represent the variable as it's a member of the class, which you can generally figure out anyway by just hovering over the variables. So I don't think it's super big deal. But we have current level, and we also want to have a bigger number here for like XP. So XP, if it's going to scale somewhat exponentially, this might actually end up being a potentially really large number. We're going to stick with unsigned. But let's go for uint 64 for current EXP. And that should be pretty good there. Now, another thing we're going to want is some virtual functions. So we're going to want a virtual level up function. Now, this kind of conflicts with the name of the class, but let's think about this here, actually. We are going to want a constructor that gives us some default stuff. So let's just go ahead and make a constructor first here. And this constructor is just going to set current level equal to 1 and current XP equal to 0. Current, can I do this? Current EXP equals 0. I guess we could put use here for unsigned. Usually the C++ will figure that out anyway, but we'll go ahead and just do it. So if you just instantiate a default level up, That's what you're going to get. Now what we can do for these classes is just go public. Maybe we'll say level system. I actually like that a little better. So let's just change this class name. Sorry to jerk you guys around a little bit with changing things. I'm trying to avoid that, but it's bound to happen some. So sorry about that. But level system. Maybe there's a better name. Maybe this should be like character class level system, but that's getting a little bit wordy at that point. But I think level system's clear enough to say that it's not necessarily a world level, because that sounds as odd as level system, right? So there we go. We got a bit of a level system. And now what we can do is we can have like a function to check if leveled up. And we could have different XP growths for each class. Like maybe a cleric takes more or less XP than a warrior to level up, but we're going to avoid all that. It's just getting too complicated. So I think what we're going to do is we're just going to put a formula in here that checks if you leveled, like anytime you gain experience. So we're going to have a void. Yeah, this one doesn't need to be virtual because it's always going to be the same. Gain EXP. And all this is going to do is just take a unsigned UN64, which probably have an experience type at this point. So we can say experience type. Maybe we'll do that in a minute. Yeah, and then we'll just add this gain EXP. So you can just gain EXP here. And maybe we also want to cap on this so you can't gain like 1,000,000 XP all at once. That's something for you to decide. I'm not going to worry about that too much. I'm going to assume we're going to design our game in a way where you can't suddenly gain infinite XP, but who knows? Sometimes people add like console commands to their game where you can like gain 1,000,000 XP and get to max level. And maybe that's a whole other theory crafting thing we could get into that we're not really going to worry about. I think we're going to cap out our level at like maybe 99 or something. We'll decide that later, but we can definitely be designing a little system here that allows us to just move on. So gain XP is just going to go current EXP plus equals gained XP. Oh, this right there. And that should be it. And another thing we could do, so we need some kind of way to like say that we leveled. And usually how most games do it is if you have a level up available, they'll give you a little icon or some button that you press and you spend your level up and do your level up. So it's not necessarily just going to automatically pop up and do it, although it could. But let's go ahead and make one more variable and just say level ups available. So this is also going to be the same same type as this level. So we probably want like a level system type or something. But we'll just go level ups available. So that way, if they're available, we can spend them and go ahead and level up. And we can check with level ups available and current level to see how much current XP is needed to get to the next one. Anyway, so that should work pretty good there. Also, quick interjection here. This isn't sponsored by anything other than me, so consider subscribing. Also, if you're enjoying the series and want to see them as they come out, be sure to hit the bell, because YouTube isn't going to necessarily notify you when new episodes come out. You have to hit the bell to manually get that going on. So just throwing that out there real quick. All right, so let's see here. Current level ups available. Okay, so what we want to do here is just do a quick check, probably every time we gain XP, and see if we gained a level. And we could do that here. How are we going to do it? We need to think of a system that checks. And I was thinking that we'll just make like another function. Actually, we could even make it private down here, like void check if leveled. Check if leveled. Now I kind of have this thing where I like to have my private helper functions with this underscore case, and my public functions in more of a camel case. So that's just the thing I do. It doesn't really matter how you do it, but just FYI, that kind of makes it clear to me which ones are private and which ones are public when I'm looking at it later. But everybody does it differently. It's just my organization style. So what we're going to do here, we're going to just do a check if level, or leveled makes sense. Check if leveled. So we need a formula here, and this is where things are going to get tricky. So we're going to start out our current level at 1, our XP is 0, and we need to do something here. So let's just hold a local variable anytime we call this function, and we'll make it this type. Well, we'll make it the XP type. So let's go ahead and make a type. Let's just do it right here. I mean, I could make another file for this, but I think these are only going to be used for the level system right now. And there is a case for doing these hit point types in the hit points file directly too, because anytime you're including the hit points, you're going to want to know about the hit point types. So there's a case for doing that. And in fact, let's just do it. Let's just go like this. It's going to reduce our files. So now we've got that type def in there for the hit points. We can delete this file, delete, and we're going to do the same thing with our stat types. Just put that right in our stat block file. Okay, so at least now you know, though. Now you know how to do it either way. But I think this is going to be a little cleaner because we're going to just have a million different type files if we continued the trend of doing it the way we were doing it. Okay, so let's go back to our level system, and we're going to type def, and we'll have, let's see, we need XP type. EXP type is going to be this here. And we need another one for level type. That's going to be this smaller one. Level type. So for anywhere we have that one, yeah, we'll just do that. And of course, we're going to need to include RC standard int here. Looks pretty good. Okay, so now that'll just clean things up. I like that better now that I've thought about it some. And just any of these right here, we can just change to EXP type. And these other ones are going to be level type. Cool. Now I will say again that doing this whole type thing is optional. I don't know if I said that. It's just cleaner. I think it's going to be better in the long run if we do that. And it's also nicer than typing this every time, in my opinion. Right? I think so anyway, or whatever it may be. All right. So now that we're checking if leveled here, what we want to do is we want to hold the variable of level type and get like the current equivalent level. And that is going to equal a current level plus level ups available. So your current level, you might be like level, let's say you're level 5, but you haven't spent your level 5 level up. So your current level will say level 4 until you spend it. So our current equivalent level is what that's going to be, if that makes sense. But that's all I'm thinking here is we don't want to like not take more XP to level up to the next level just because you haven't spent your level up. It's just a little logic working out here. So we'll get this current equivalent level, and that way we can check what it requires. Now we need like an XP gain or an XP ratio for every level up. And I was thinking just a ×2 every time. And maybe we'll start it at 100 for like a first level. And we got to decide where we're going to hold this variable. I think we're just going to statically hold it somewhere in this level up system where we can get it anywhere we want. Let's see where. Let's see, these growth amounts are public over here. We'll kind of do a similar thing, and we'll just have like a XP ratio static const. Let's see, we're going to be doing some multiplying. I guess we'll just use XP type for this and level up multiplier. I'm trying to think of a good variable name for this. I'll probably rename it here in a sec, but it's basically how much you need every time, because we're just going to make it scale exponentially, I think. That way it gets harder and harder to level. Like level 1 will take 100, level 2 will take 200, level 3 will take 400, and then 800, and so on. A nice exponential ×2. And so it's just going to be 2 equals 2. We're doing a static const That way this variable doesn't get created a bunch of times. That's totally not necessary. We could probably use a smaller type here, but we're gonna stick with, yeah, we'll stick with level type. We might even, yeah, this is fine. Let's not worry about it too much. Let's just use level type there. And we also want where you're gonna start level 1. So this one's gonna be XP type. I think that makes more sense here. Equal or starting, I will just say level 1 at, we'll make this one 100. So you get to level 100, or level 1 at, or level 2 at 100 XP, because you start at level 1, level 2 at 100 XP, and that way it'll scale up from there. So we're just going to use these. Now we could even put these, if they're not used anywhere else, and you don't necessarily want to know about them anywhere else in the file, you could just put them literally only in this function. That way people know not to mess with them. But if you want to make like your game moddable and stuff, you might want to expose these somewhere where someone could change them, or maybe we'll probably get into this part later, maybe when we get to making worlds and stuff. Sometimes people will kind of make a system with the code, and then they'll make a file that they read from to do everything for your actual game. You see this quite frequently. So we might get to that eventually. It's definitely required when saving to read and write, but like, text files or binary files or something, non-code files basically, that you modify at runtime. So these could be turned into runtime files. This whole thing could be. That's really a whole nother thing. We'll probably get to that at some point when we get more advanced, but we're not going to worry too much about runtime files right now. We're just going to make things internal. In this way, no one's allowed to just like modify your game easily. They'd have to literally get like a binary editor to be able to change these sort of variables. So this is what they call hard coded. Things are hard coded into the game. So you don't necessarily need to hard code. You could soft code by saying every time my program runs, it's going to bring in the settings it needs from a file or something like that. So just a little food for thought. But yeah, we'll worry about that at a later time if we want to go that route. I don't think we're going to go that route until much, much later anyway, if we are getting into some more advanced little things. And did I spell equivalent right or wrong? No, it's equivent. How do you spell equivalent? Oh my gosh, sometimes when I'm coding and trying to think of words or variable names, I just know I'm spelling them wrong, but what are you gonna do? You gotta keep moving. There we go. I spelled it right. All right, so our level, we're gonna get the current equivalent level. Now we got these variables we're gonna use, and one of these so we need to like determine how much XP that we need. Let's think about how to do this for a second. Okay, I admit my brain is a little foggy for some reason right now. I'm just not feeling super in tune, and sometimes that happens when you're coding. And what do you do in those cases? Do you just stop coding? Sometimes you just gotta press on. But let's just think about it. Sometimes I like to think about these things in kind of a chart form, and that helps me out. So let's just make a little comment here. So at level 1, you'd have 0 XP. 0 XP needed, right? At level 2, is going to need the level 2 at EXP needed, right? And at level 3, you see where this is going. We're going to need the level 2 at times, we need a formula we could put in here. It's going to be the previous one. This is it's going to look like a Fibonacci, isn't it? Yeah, we're basically going to take the level 2 XP needed, or the previous times 2 times 2 XP needed. This is kind of weird to think about. And then on level 4, well, we basically just want to put this into the cleanest formula we can come up with. For the life of me, I feel like I'm not going to come up with the cleanest formula, and that's going to kind of make me look like a fool. But whatever, I'm going to go with it. If someone wants to correct it and make it better on GitHub, more power to you. Appreciate it. I'm sure someone will. But it's basically going to be this, except it's going to be... okay, so this is a const. Let's do something. Level 2 at, and this is level multiplier or level scalar. Maybe scalar makes more sense there. Yeah, because this is always going to be level scalar. But basically all we want to do is we want to take whatever experience was needed for the previous level times 2 and so on, and we just want to put a little formula in here. And this way we can basically have a system where we can level indefinitely in theory, and we don't necessarily need to hard cap, but we probably will hard cap. We don't want to necessarily be able to level indefinitely, and at some point it's going to get so hard to level because like whatever's happening in the game, the monsters or whatever, won't give enough XP to level in any amount of reasonable time. Okay, so basically it's just going to look like this. So level 1, 0 XP. Level 2, we take the level 2 at XP needed. This is kind of our main thing we start to scale off of. Then at level 3 and so on, we take the previous required times the level scalar, and it just keeps going like that. It's just previous required. So that way we only need to know where we start the scale, and if we want to make it take longer, we could start the scale higher or lower, or we could kind of adjust this on the fly to make some balance changes later if we want. So it just gives us that simple option where we change one variable and we change the whole, how the whole exponential scale works. So a lot of cool stuff that you can do like that with code and level up systems, in my opinion. You can also do this with combat stuff too. And this is more where like this kind of theory is where you kind of need the calculus part of and algorithms part of computer science stuff, which is always fun. I say always fun, but some people do not enjoy this part. And in fact, I enjoy it on some days. Some days this stuff seems like it clicks very well for me, and other days I'm just like, I don't feel like thinking about it. And today is one of those days where I don't particularly feel like thinking about it, but we got to push on. So we're going to get this wrote out here in the best way we can for now. Yeah, okay, before we continue here, we should also set this level ups available to 0 in our starting thing. Otherwise, that could cause some serious confusion in our thing if this sets to some random number. So yeah, 0 level ups available to start level 1. Okay, and basically what we do is we want to get how much is required to get to the next level, and see if they've hit that. If they have, we'll increase the level ups available, and that should pretty much take care of it. Also want this case in the beginning. It might not be super critical, but I don't think it's going to mess up anything too much. But if your current XP is less than 100, you're still at level 1. That's a case where we just don't even need to run any calculations. We just know that you haven't leveled because you haven't even got to level 2 yet. So that just is a kind of a base case there. And from here on out, we should be able to develop a quick little formula. All right, so let's just do this with a for loop. I guess that makes it pretty easy. So we're just going to go, or maybe a while loop. Let's see, while. Okay, I got to think about how I'm going to formulate this. I know I've been thinking a lot here. I'm trying to get it straightened out and say it the best way I can to reduce confusion for you guys. I've determined that I'm overthinking this, so I'm just going to do it a way simpler way. Okay, so if you ever find yourself just making just a complete elaborate mess of your code, consider just deleting all of it. That's probably the best thing you can do. And starting over, because I was just going down a rabbit hole of theory, and all I really need to do is just double whatever it previously was. Oh, sigh. Okay, so the simplest way of doing this that I can think of is basically we just take XP till next level, XP type, XP to next level. How do we write this? This is fine. To next level. And we're going to start it at this 100 or level 2 at. Yeah, that should be fine. And we'll just do that here. Yeah, easy enough, right? And we'll take this scalar. Now this scalar can stay in the function. We'll still use that function. I'm just going to do it a simpler way. So level 2 at 100, sure. And that's just something we're going to default this to. There we go, XP till next level. So we're holding another variable, not a huge deal, but this should make it a lot simpler. And I was also thinking, we're not going to do this XP or level equivalent. We're just going to always make your current level whatever it truly is, and whether you've spent your points to level up not or not is on you. So that's going to be the level ups available, and that should be a lot better, a lot better, and a lot cleaner to reason about. So okay, so if we gain XP, we'll just add it to the XP and check if leveled. And the only thing we're going to do here is just double, we're just going to keep track of whatever the XP till next level is and see if you've hit it or not. It's really going to be that simple. So we do need to maintain a little bit of a level up system in that regard. And yeah, there's just a lot you can theorize and change here, and a lot you could do your own particular way. But yeah, this is going to make it so that literally the only thing we need to do here for the check if leveled is if current XP is greater than the XP needed to level. And then we'll say we level up. Now, whether we want to do the level up here or somewhere else, yeah, I think we're just gonna do it all here. Trying to keep this as simple as possible, but yeah, naturally things are going to get more complex as we move on, but we will just go ahead. So if your current XP is greater than the XP till next level, we're just going to do the thing, basically. I don't know if we're going to use this or not, we'll see. But all we're going to do is go current level plus plus, and then level ups available plus plus. Just increment both of those. So earlier I was saying in a way where you have to spend your level ups to increase your current level, but we're not going to do that. It's just going to automatically increase your current level, and you have level ups to spend maybe. I don't even know if I'm going to use that, to be honest. That implies that we're going to have like a point system and skill trees, and we haven't gone the whole skill tree route yet. So maybe this whole level up system available is not even necessary right now. So I'm actually just going to delete it. I just don't think it's viable. We're just going to kind of auto generate abilities. You're going to automatically get points. You're going to automatically get your next abilities. You're not going to need to choose things. Now, if we do introduce skill trees, this whole points available thing is going to be a thing we'll do. But for now, we're going to leave it out of the level up system. We're just going to leave the level up system as simplistic as possible. I think that's better. And I'm glad I thought about it. But yeah, that's basically it. So the XP to next level should now double. That's plus equals or times equals 2, or the level scalar. And that's it. So you level up, and you say the next level is at double what it was before. I guess we'll put the scalar in here. And that is so much cleaner than whatever the heck I was trying to formalize before. But I'm going to leave that in there. I know it's going to be like a little crunchy or whatever. I get it. But I think it's important to realize that sometimes these kind of things happen when you're doing creative coding. Like you come up with this whole system and it sounds simple in your head, and then you try to implement it and it's a total mess. And basically what you have to do, this is really important, you need to step away. You need to think about things. You need to consider deleting your whole thing and starting over, basically. That's a very dramatic way of saying it, but that was literally the best thing I could have done. Like I could have sat and thought about that problem and how I want to do it all day, or I could have just done this, which is so much better and cleaner. Okay, well, that's basically it for the level system for now. I don't think we need a whole lot else. I think we're just going to go ahead and put it in some of our classes, test it out a little bit, and implement how it's going to go in our classes. So we do want to add in a little bit of some virtual method, maybe. Maybe it'll be in So this check if level thing, it's gonna automatically do its thing. We probably want, well, we can get these. It actually makes sense to make this a pure virtual class because this whole level up system shouldn't be ever be its own object. It belongs to something that it's leveling. And if that's the case, we want to just make a virtual uh, void level up equals 0. So that way, anything that inherits from this is we're going to be forced to add in a level up system, and that should help out things. So maybe we could even put that here. We could put like increment current level up. Is it going to let us call this? Actually, we'll do a little experiment here. Okay, so since this is a pure virtual class, we can't instantiate it on its own. But now we have a function in here that calls a virtual level up. Now this is where C++ gets a little interesting. Let's test it on the cleric here. So we implemented, or we brought in this level system. Let's include it. And then let's make all the pure virtual functions. Okay, so yeah, we can go manually type it in, but Visual Studio has this nice feature where you can just right click and go implement pure virtuals for cleric, and it should do it. Operation failed for 1 of 1. Unable to create function level up. Okay, whatever. So I guess we gotta type it manually. We go void. What is it? Level up. Override. And we'll do a thing. Now we're in an experimental zone at this point, but when we level up, we just want to we want to increase some of this stuff. Like we want to increase our HP, we want to increase some of our stat block stuff. That's basically it. So when we level up, and actually we could even make this like, can we do it privately? Because we don't want anyone to, we don't ever want to call this. This should trigger automatically, specifically when we gain XP and check if leveled. And if we leveled, it should trigger a level up. So we're kind of putting a little something like that in here. And this might not compile at first, but if it doesn't, we'll analyze and we'll learn some stuff about C++. So I encourage you to give this a try, even if it doesn't work here in this video on first try, just for your learning's sake. So we'll go to level up, we'll go HP dot, or what do we call it here? So we're going to go set max at HP. It's basically what we're going to do. Set, if it lets us. Hold on. Okay, I just like recorded and talked for like 10 minutes. And I just realized my recording was paused. So, oh, sigh. Okay, I'm gonna do a little catch up here. Okay, I'm gonna speed run what I went over. This might actually be good for you guys because at least now you know what I'm going to tell you actually works and you're going to get less of the experimental stuff. Okay, so the level up system, here's what it looks like right now. Geez, I'm not even sure exactly where we left off, to be honest. I'm not sure where that glitch happened there. Okay, so the only thing we do is, okay, level up system. Here's our current starting values with this static. And whenever we gain XP, we're just going to add it to our current XP, right? We already went over that. But now we're going to check if leveled. And we put it in this while loop because check if leveled now returns a true if you leveled or a false if you did not. And that way, if you have gained enough XP to gain multiple levels, it's going to keep checking as long as this returns true. So if you leveled up, it's going to check again to see if you leveled up yet again. And as long as you keep leveling, it's going to be like, hey, you got a lot of experience, you're going to keep leveling. But when it gets to a point where you've gained XP, but it wasn't enough to level, it's going to return false and stop. That way, anytime, this should work better this way. All right, and we also added some getter functions here to get your current level, get your current XP, get XP to the next level. That way we can populate that into character sheets nice and easy, and putting it in the level system, it's going to just auto-populate and everything. We also made this pure virtual function. Not sure if I talked about that before the recording stopped, but it's this equals 0 here means you must implement it in whoever inherits from it. And we are also calling the pure virtual function here and check if leveled. So when you level up, it is going to call this pure virtual function level up. And this kind of gets interesting because what's going to happen here? Is it going to call it for the proper one? Is it going to glitch out? Is it going to have a compiler error? Well, this is this is a nice thing about C++ here. So we went ahead and implemented it into the cleric class. And we also added a few more things here, which I think I missed. So we're going to go over that again. So yes, we have our base stats here, and I made those all base, and the growth ones are for how it levels. So a little change there. Base stats are what they start out as. Growth, I just set it basically to half of what the starting one is, rounding up for things that are odd numbers. And so we got our starting ones here in the constructor, but anytime we level up, here we have privately implemented level up. So you cannot call cleric.levelup, and that's important, but it is implemented here to be automatically called by the level system for this check if leveled. So that's like an interesting thing you can do with C++, where you can kind of automatically call some of these functions from inherited things, but not, because if you don't have enough XP to level up, you simply can't. That's the whole point here. The only thing you will be able to call is the public function gain XP, and if you have enough XP to level, then you will level up and you will get whatever happens here. And all we're doing is we're growing your max HP. So we're setting max HP. We don't have an increase max HP function, so I'm just getting whatever it currently is, adding the growth. And for the stats, I did implement this as well. Not sure if I got this in the recording, but in the stat block, we went ahead and added a increase stats as a protected function. And I actually forgot to fill this out totally, so it's going to do is just increase these as you would think. Strength plus equals S, and intellect plus equals I. So just a nice little increase function. We could separate them out, like increase strength, increase intellect, but you can just pass in 0 here and that'll be fine. So I thought that would be very, very good enough, sufficient. And what next? So yeah, we're done there. We added that into the stat block. Okay, we're pretty much done showing the level up system. There it is. Looks good enough. Pretty simple. I say simple, but I struggled with it for a minute to wrap my head around what I wanted to do and how I wanted to arrange that, but that's the way it goes. All right, and so we got a little test here where we just run a for loop and we just gain XP. Let me see. I'm going to make sure I didn't miss anything here. Yeah, okay, I think we've covered everything. Of course, we got the inherit level system and include it. Not sure if I had that in the recording, but just trying to make sure anyone that's following along doesn't get completely lost. This episode has been a mess, but it's the way it goes sometimes. Sometimes coding's messy. If you're able to keep up and keep with all this, you're doing great. And I, for one, am proud of you. So let's see here. Yeah, we just got a little test. I deleted all the other ones for now. This main right now. While eventually it's going to run our entire game, but for now we're just going to kind of do tests as we go to make sure everything's working as we expect. So we instantiate a cleric. It's going to get all that base stuff. And then I'm just running a loop. I'm just doing this twice. We're just going to spit out a pseudo character sheet, if you will. It shows your XP, strength, intellect, level, and XP. And the XP is going to say your current and also how much till next level, with a little slash there like you usually see on character sheets in games. And then at the end of this, we're going to call gain XP. So the cleric's going to gain 100 XP, go to the next loop, say the character sheet again, gain XP, and then just going to exit. So the last gain XP isn't actually going to do anything. Maybe we'll just put a quick if statement here just for the heck of it. If I is less than 1, so it's then gain XP. So that way the second time around it's not going to gain XP. It's only going to do this once. Yep, that should be very nice. So let's go ahead and run this, see what happens, and make sure it works correctly. Okay, so first time through, cleric, just base instantiation here, max HP 14, strength 2, intellect 3, looks good, level 1, 0 of 100 XP, that's pretty good. You know, I'm actually going to put this level up here. I think it's just going to look nicer. Level, and we'll call this get level here. Gotta put a quote here. Just keep it nice and clean there. And actually use single quotes because that's actually just a character, not a string. A little tiny optimization. And we'll get that out of there. And that looks pretty good. I don't know, I think it also, maybe the XP should be right under the level. Sure. That means we also got to move where the semicolon is. There's a lot of different ways of doing printout. It's just my way of doing it. Sometimes I even like doing it like this because you see it nice in one nice block. But however you want to do it's fine. Let's go ahead and run that, see how it looks. Get out of select mode there, and there we go. There's our nice little character sheet call out. Looks good, and then we level up once. Looks like we do get one more strength, one more or two more intellect, so that's correct, and we get 7 more HP. That's correct. XP. Yeah, looks like our level up system is in general working pretty good. Now, what you want to do next is just expand these this XP growth thing and this level up, and write the same things in for these other classes. So yeah, let's go ahead and do that real quick. So the rogue, I'm just going to do copy paste. It should work correct. We'll put it in the rogue. We'll put it in the warrior, and we'll put it in the wizard. And we just need to change these as well, because this is now going to be, yeah, let's just change this. HP growth is now going to be called base HP. Little change there. I might have missed saying that earlier for the cleric, but when we instantiate, now we're going to call it on base HP. That was a change we did that I think I missed recording. Yeah, so rather than HP growth, all these base starting ones are base, 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 and the growth ones for the level up is what we're using there. So we could even put this like down here closer, but it doesn't matter that much. All right, just so that's clear. And I'm just going to copy these because it's going to be about the same. So go into our rogue, put those in there, make sure, let's go half values. Let's actually start the rogue at 12 because that's an even value and increase by 6 at a time. I'm kind of wanting to stick with evens, I'm thinking somewhat, or round up when we can. Yeah, that's good. I like that. Okay, so their strength increases by 2 and increases by 1. Base, oh, this needs to be changed here. This should be base HP, and we need to change these. There we go. We got HP growth. Yeah, that looks good. Looks good. We need to include here, or we need to inherit also the level up system, or level system. Maybe it should be called level up system. I don't know. Both are pretty close. We want to include here, of course. There we go. And we're just going to do the same thing for the warrior. Rename this to base HP. Oh, so HP growth. Oh, let's go ahead and grab this line here. When in doubt, copy paste instead of type. But make sure you get it all correct. All right, let's round their HP. Let's actually do 18 on the warrior, and 4 and 1's pretty good there. There's a few inconsistencies I'm kind of seeing here that I'm not real happy with. Like this 4 and 1 is still going to round down to 2 and 1, which is the same increase rate as the rogue. I guess that's fine. Sure, we'll leave it. But they do have a higher starting base, so still the warrior's a tiny bit more strength, but it's just not going to scale better over the levels, which is sort of interesting. There we go. Level up looks good. We got base and these. We'll leave it for now. You know, we might do some buffs and nerfs later, but just getting this initial setup going. Okay, wizard, we already corrected the base HP. We need some growths in here. This is going to be HP growth. And we just need to get these in here for the wizard. I'm really looking forward to the part where we start doing abilities stuff and stuff like that. Let's go with 10 HP. Just a better number there, I think. And looks like we can go 2, 1 here. That's actually the same rate as the cleric, isn't it? Yeah. A little less HP than the cleric. That's fine for now. Level up looking good. Okay, we need to include this kind of stuff here, the level system, and inherit. Can I just put a... I don't know if we need to keep retyping public, to be honest. I think we could just do yes. Let's make sure this all builds and runs. Yeah, we only got the cleric instantiating. So that's looking pretty good there. That's looking pretty good there. We could do the same thing. We could make these for every class here. We could go, we could change one of these to rogue or whatever. Oops, rogue. And we could just do a quick test on the rogue. We won't do all of them. We'll just rogue only here. And just make sure that he is also leveling correctly. Let's make a couple more new lines in between them. Let's put C out here. A bunch of lines. That way we can see the separation of the two classes there. There we go. Give that a quick look. Make sure it looks good. You're welcome. Oh, are we still saying cleric? Yeah, it should say rogue. Okay. There we go. And we could do some fancy stuff, like instead of having to say rogue, we could get like the class name by class type. Yeah, we could do some fancy type stuff like that, so we don't have to manually type in the string. But we'll save that for later if we do something like that. But it looks pretty good. Looks like the rogue is increasing correctly as well. 6 more HP. Yep. 2 strength, more strength. Yep. Okay. So, yep, there we go. Level up, system intact. Thanks for watching. And don't forget to support the channel if you enjoy this stuff and want to keep seeing it. It does help me continue making this sort of content, because it, as you would imagine, it isn't always easy for me to continue doing this sort of stuff every day. Yeah, I don't want to get too much into that, but you probably get it. So just know that I really, really, really appreciate your guys' support. All right, good luck, and let me know if you have any questions, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace out.